of course, you know, DG Chuchi Fonacier has been with the Central Bank for 33 years. Ages. She's been with financial supervision, in charge of financial supervision now, and arguably, probably the most susceptible to being targeted by hate. But of course, he's one of the most approachable officials in the central bank, or for the whole of government, for that matter.
Yes.
I just don't know whether that's
Good
how.
morning, Claire.
Good morning, DG. I don't know whether that's how the regulated entities would feel.
Yeah.
But anyway,
She
she is handpicked by the late Governor Nestor Espinilla, a champion for financial inclusion, and now she's taking on that mantle, pushing for a risk-based approach to tech and ensuring that consumers are well protected as we travel into the digital age.
Yes, right, Claire.
DG, any opening
Actually,
statement?
speaking of financial inclusion, one of the steps that BSP has to take is, of course, creating this digital finance ecosystem. So we talk about, of course, in the payment space, and that's why we have this National Retail Payment System, the NRPS. Currently, there are two automated clearing houses, the ACHS. The first one is PesoNet, and the other is InstaPay. PesoNet is more for the high value, so there is no limit into the amount, and this will eventually replace the paper-based check system. So this will facilitate, of course, payments, and that's what we want, because with the economy growing on average above 6%, then we need a very efficient payment system. So one is PesoNet, the other is InstaPay. InstaPay is for the low value. It has a maximum amount that one can send through this at 50,000, but there's no limit as to the number of times a person can send using InstaPay.
And you're talking about the interoperability of this infrastructure, DG.
Right, Claire.
Interoperability not just in the
banks,
local
among
ecosystem, but also with other with the region.
Yeah, soon with the region, because other ASEAN jurisdictions like Singapore, for one, is very intent really in linking up the payment system with the Philippines. But the beauty here in the Philippines is that by itself, the NRPS is interoperable. And mind you, it's not just interoperable among banks, it's even interoperable through also the mobile banking network, the Globe, for instance. So one can transfer from one deposit account to the GCash. So that's interoperability really at its best. It's not just within the banks, but even the non-banks. Unlike other jurisdictions, they have also interoperability, but it's not involving the non-banks. This time in the Philippines, both banks and non-banks.
Okay, let me pull you back down to the Philippines first, DG. But the reality is, okay, so we are still essentially a cash-based
yes,
economy.
right now, very much.
I think when you launch the NRPS, the amount or the volume of transactions would just be around 1%, 5%, and the target is 20% by 2020.
Year 2020.
How close or how far are we from that target?
Oh, we are pretty much confident that we'll be able to achieve that, because soon, also including government payments, would now be making use of electronic channels. So we'll have G2P, P2G right now, P2P, B2P, P2B, all those things. But government...
It's an alphabet of P's, B's.
But government really is such an essential component in all of this.
It's the biggest employer. So.
Yes, to the employers. So we're targeting, of course, that it's not just about interoperability, but rather convenience for the clients. Convenience for customers, efficiency, and even security. Because, of course, BSP, as the regulator, we would ensure that all players in this payment ecosystem are complying with the BSP requirements. So that's as far as security is concerned.
So, can you paint us a picture of what the Philippine digital economy would look like in 5 years, 10 years? Let's use an OFW experience, for example, because you know we rely on overseas remittances
very much.
as a important leg of the economy. So can you someone an OFW in Riyadh sending money home regularly to someone in Maguindanao, which is probably one of the 1,600
Unbank.
municipalities without a bank up to this point.
Yeah, right.
What would it look like? 5,
Yeah,
10
current-
years?
Let's start first with what's existing.
Okay.
Right now, when one sends money
Mhm.
to the Philippines, especially for, let's say, OFW, it's important that the recipient should have an account. But right now, we have
Mhm.
challenges about account opening. It's not because it's difficult to open an account, but when one is, let's say, in a remote area, how can that person open an account? So BSP has enabling regulations. We have basic deposit account. It's a no-frill savings account wherein one can open an account even with just 100 pesos or even less. And it's no maintaining balance, no dormancy charges, and the bank will not be charged with a reserve requirement. So that's the very essential step. One should first have an account or even a mobile money
Yes.
account, so a mobile banking account. And the challenge is, let's say, as the recipient, if it has no account, so how can he or she receive? So it will be through, of course, let's say, could be a courier, something like that.
Remittance channels.
So it would really be cumbersome. Of course. But we're hoping, and of course, it's not. We'll be envisioning something later that where the enabling regulations of the BSR, the basic deposit account, cash agents that banks can make use of, then even at the remotest place, that person can already open an account, and even with a reduced KYC because of course, of the basic deposit account. So we'll now picture out a scenario that the one sending the account of W directly to the account of the recipient. It's not just convenience as to it's a direct credit, but rather how that person make use of the account. Meaning to say, within our PS,
Okay.
once the money is already credited to the account, that person can just transact using a mobile phone or a tablet. Meaning to say, the person can now pay bills using InstaPay and then send money also to other relatives. Let's say someone studying here in Manila.
So the mobile.
Through the mobile can just so it's all convenient really because at the fingertips you can just make use of your let's say the app to make use of transferring even from a deposit account to GCash, for instance. You can just transfer that with
Extra
an
plugin for
RPS.
GCash.
Yeah. So that's really convenience, and soon, especially if we'll be linked up already with the other ASEAN countries, then
Then the
that would
remittances can move faster.
remittances can now be really transmitted, meaning transferred so conveniently, and the recipient can manage his or her own account efficiently because you can do payments from that account, even transfer to another account, even in another bank because that's NRPS. It's interoperable.
Okay, I'll go to that other bank topic later. But now you
Yes.
said later. How later is later when you say that at some point in the future, someone from Maguindanao who will have to travel 2 hours to get to a bank, to a physical bank, can and probably and the common I think problem is that the identification. They lack the necessary IDs, which I think the BSP has hurdled already with
actually.
easier rules. But then, so if I am a worker in Maguindanao and there is no bank, how do I open an account?
Yeah.
I will still have to go physically to a
No,
bank, right?
actually, there's no more need to go physically because, as I mentioned in our regulation, can make use of the cash agents to open an account. So, agency banking has been allowed by the BSP. So, let's say a bank situated, let's say, in Cotabato or
Accrediting.
can accredit a cash agent.
Meaning a
as
sari-sari
agent.
store.
Yeah, a sari-sari store to do the opening of the account in behalf of the bank because it's allowed. But of course, under regulations by the BSP, following BSP's expectations about how do they accredit the cash agent. So even now, that's already possible. So if that person can open a basic deposit account, meaning to say even with 100 pesos, and then a reduced KYC can be made by the cash agent, then that person already can have an account and can already be made a recipient as well of a remittance or a transfer of funds.
You mentioned a bank-to-bank transfer, DG. I know that the current system, enables it. But the reality on the ground is that if I'm a depositor of
Yeah.
Bank B, uh, transferring money from my account online to Bank U is not really that easy. I don't know. What is the enabling environment for us to move to that? I mean, even
Yeah. Yeah,
that
thank you.
point A to B.
Yeah, thank you for that, Claire. Actually, it's possible, but depending on the bank, and that's why this is really more of a competition than a competition.
Mhm.
That's what the BSP would like to emphasize. And so, of course, we are enjoining institutions to already, of course, be part of this ecosystem on the NRPS so that they can offer PesoNet, InstaPay. So we're talking here that you're not just the receiving institution, but even a sending institution. So, of course, that's BSP's um, within our ambit to really monitor the banks, whether they are, of course, offering these channels in the different channels in their services that to the public, and even awareness as well with their own employees to let's say talk about PesoNet and InstaPay.
Okay,
So
you can do your PSA now.
yeah,
Public service announcement.
actually for all of us here and even for the listeners around the globe, I think, and even OFWs, please ask your bank about PesoNet and InstaPay, and the banks and even the mobile banking providers as well, the non-bank players. You better be able to uh, provide information about PesoNet and InstaPay because the BSP is closely monitoring about these developments. The ability of your employees to talk about PesoNet and InstaPay, and even also the cooperation of institutions to be part of this digital finance ecosystem that we are having right now. It's already there. So it's just a matter of the institutions being part of it, both as a sending and a receiving. It's not just the receiving part, but the sending part. And BSP is closely monitoring this because we've already issued our regulations. And the moment we've noted something that the institutions are not doing, then BSP will do something about it. But
And
it's
she does
really,
that. She says that smiling.
Yeah.
That's our the head of financial supervision for you guys.
Yes, because actually at the end of the day, this is really for all the Filipinos. It's not just about the business, not just about of course this, but it's really for all Filipinos to have an affordable, safe, and efficient way of sending money, making payments, because payment is such an important
It is.
matter. When you talk about the entire economy, it is spurring, of course, transactions.
We talked about QRs previously. When is
Right.
this coming up? Is this coming up soon?
Yeah, it's coming up soon. We're now working with the industry in coming up with a national standard. So we should only have one national standard because to begin with, we're
When is
talking
this
about,
coming up, DG?
It's coming up, I think, in the third quarter.
Okay.
Yeah, in
They're
the third
listening.
quarter. And they're listening.
Okay.
And it should be only one national standard because, as I was mentioning earlier on, we're really pushing for interoperability and should be easy if it's only one national standard for the QR. So there, and with that QR, of course, that will enable a lot of transactions, small transactions, even in the farthest area in the Philippines, because can do payments for buy something in the countryside, especially for tourists in a resort wherein there are not yet so many establishments there. Can do make use of QR. So it will help a lot really in spurring economic development.
I know it will still be quite a while before we get to that point where we can pay for our isaw and fish balls
Right.
with the
Using
QR code and
QR.
using our mobiles.
Yeah, yeah.
But at least
but
there's
that's
like some light at the end of the tunnel,
yes, of
DG.
course. Not really so much. I mean, that's that far, but that will happen soon.
And our succeeding sessions, I think, hopefully will tackle more of that.
Yes,
stay
later.
tuned.
Yes.
And well, anyway, I think they will deduct this from my salary if I go over 15 minutes. So thank you so much, DG, for that very
Thank you,
meaningful
Claire.
15
Thank
minutes.
you. And I'm very much open to be engaged by anyone about anything.
I have her cell
Something
phone
to do
number,
with
so
this,
talk to
yes.
me if you have
So
any
guys,
complaints.
feel free to get in touch.
If your bank
Yeah.
is not talking about PesoNet and InstaPay, so you
yes. So there you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
to
DG.
Bloomberg for the opportunity and to Globe for this chance. Thank you.